Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and 30-year business coach. Listen in as amazing, world-changing authors, speakers, and coaches share their struggles and victories. And hear from best-selling authors' insight into how you too can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. I'm so glad to have you here with us today as we talk about turning wounds into triumph. How do the worst moments of your life end up being the things that make you even more strong and powerful and more of the person that you were always meant to be? I have three great, amazing guests with me here today, and some really incredible interviews that I'm so looking forward to being able to share with you. We really want to help jump into some of the worst moments of your life and then look at how you can really celebrate and find joy and even your own power in the midst of those by turning wounds into triumph. Today on Thriving Entrepreneur. With that said, we've got three great guests, and I want to jump right into it here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Join me in welcoming Dr. Linda Verisco. Hey, Linda, how you doing?
Hi, Steve. Great. Thank you.
So glad to have you here with us. Start us off by telling us, and we're going to be talking the whole time about your book, The Girl with the $1 Million Smile, but just tell us a little bit of your background and maybe even where you are and why you have a treats with you right now.
Okay. So hi, everybody. I'm Linda, Dr. Linda, as everybody calls me. I was born in New York, went off to college at Villanova, then became a chiropractor because my mother became paralyzed from a disc problem. Originally, I was going to be an OBGYN. That would have been quite a hoot. And then I went on to chiropractic school in South Carolina, moved to Florida, and started my practice. Met the man of my dreams in Cancun in 1988, who was another Italian chiropractor. What's the chances? He was practicing in California, originally from New Jersey. And he just picked me up on the beach. Actually, his father and his uncles, they were taking a family trip. And his father and his uncles kind of spotted me walking by on the beach, and they picked me up. And that was the start of the fairy tale. And we dated, and then he moved. He wanted me to move to California. I didn't particularly care for it. And so he decided to pick up his life, sell his practice, and kind of move to Florida. And that's like the first 28 years in a minute. There's a lot more stuff in there, but.
Well, this is a really fun book, and it's real and it's raw in some places. And you probably tell us some things that that your mother wouldn't want you to tell.
Exactly. Or my daddy.
Yeah, we never want to.
I kind of let it. I actually became naked to the readers. I just let it all hang out. And this is book 1 of the series. Book 2 is going to get a lot more raunchy. Because a lot of the book 1 was my childhood and meeting Joseph and so forth. But it was fun. I think the book will bring out a lot of emotions. I think when I was going through it with the editor, she said to me, Linda, you made me cry. Or Linda, you made me just laugh out loud. Or Linda, you brought me to a place where I had to really reflect. And I think that's what the readers are gonna do when they read it. I really did not hold anything back.
Oh yeah, as I was formatting it a couple of days ago, this weekend, basically doing the final format of it, there was a couple of times I even sent a message to Judy and I said, in some places in this book, she's really a good example of what not to do. Yeah.
Definitely. I made a lot of bad mistakes. Well, that's what this place is. It's a learning. Life is learning. Oh, you know, you're gonna have some good times and you're gonna have some bad times, and you're gonna make mistakes. And then you gotta pick yourself up, You're going to brush yourself off and you're going to keep going. What else are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're sitting in your back porch there in Florida.
Yes.
You have treats in your hand just
Yes.
in case one of your little friends comes up. How many squirrels do you have hanging around right now?
About 5 of them.
Uh,
Five. I rescue orphan squirrels. I get them back to health, nurse them with a little bottle, and then I release them back into the wild. So if you were walking through my backyard, it wouldn't be uncommon for a squirrel to climb up your leg and be looking for a nut. Or if you have nuts in your pockets, they will raid your pockets. It's quite it's quite interesting. The pool man didn't know about the first squirrel, Mr. Peaches, and he came to clean the pool, and the squirrel jumped up his leg, and I can tell you that he literally almost jumped into the pool. He was so afraid. Here's one. Hi, boo boos. Oh, just help yourself. So
it's almost like Squirrel Halloween every day.
yes, there's always a squirrel, and if I'm not out here, they're at my back door trying to get in for a treat.
I love
They're
it.
pretty amazing creatures. Pretty amazing.
I guess it's a good thing you don't have the back door open, or they'd just be in your house.
No, they
rummaging
come in
through
the
your
house.
cupboards.
Yes. Many a times that has happened. Trust me.
Oh, that's funny. So, tell us a little bit about what led you to go ahead and share the things. I mean, we talked about the fact that it's some things that your mom and dad would prefer that you wouldn't have shared. So, tell us what led you to go ahead and share it.
I've always wanted to write a book. And the more life experiences I had, the more I had to put on paper. And the book is basically about resilience. Like when life knocks you down, you got to get up. A lot of people don't get up. They just stay there and they wallow it, and woe for me. So this book is like an inspirational book in a lot of ways. Don't do what Linda did, okay? Don't make every mistake that she made. But I put a lot of quotes in there from famous people, and I had to write it. And I remember one day my daughter said to me, so Ma, what do you got to write that's people are going to want to hear? And I said, it's a story. It's a story about one person's resilience. And, when you make a mistake and you just keep going in life. And the older I got, the more I had to fill the pages. So more life experience, more examples for people. It could be a movie. The kind of life that I led could be a movie. It really could. I'm just giving you the basic stuff. I get deeper and deeper in the books, but.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. And you're totally right. You will laugh. You'll probably cry in spots. If you're a parent, you'll be like, oh, all of those kind of things. So we've gotten you to the point where you met this incredibly wonderful man. And of course, I got to read the book in order to be able to see it. But give us just a little sneak peek of what's coming up in the rest of the series.
You know how they say sometimes that things are too good to be true. You better. It might have been like that. He was handsome. He was Italian. He had the same background as I do. I didn't believe him when he came up to me on the beach and he said to me, "What do you do?" I said, "Oh, I'm a chiropractor in South Florida." He goes, "Yeah, so am I. I'm a chiropractor in California." I go, I really hate when guys lie to me. And he goes, No, Linda. Ask me some questions. So I started firing questions at him. What's the triad of multiple sclerosis? What is it? And he was answering them. I'm lucky for him, he was answering them. And then he said to me, wait. I know what I can do to convince you that I'm really a chiropractor. I go, what is that? He goes, I took the Irene Gold board review for chiropractic. And I stopped in my track because there's no way you would know that unless you were a chiropractor. So, I took him back to let me backtrack a little bit. I was dating this guy from Brooklyn named Joe, same name, Joe. He was just a fun time. And when I was home from college and chiropractic school, I would see him. And then I moved to Florida, and it was just fizzling out. And so I said to my mother, who bought me a timeshare in Mexico, that's why I was there. Because she said to me, I know you, Linda, you're never going to take vacations, and you're a workaholic, which is very true. So I'm going to buy you this timeshare, and then you can go on it. Well, I was planning on taking that guy, Joe, and it kind of fizzled. So I took my mom. So my mom and I went on this Cancun trip. And, I was complaining about this, bitching really is the right word. I was bitching about, not these guys out there. And she goes, listen, go take a walk on the beach, clear your mind out, and then come back. It was the first day of vacation, and we will have a blast. I said, okay. So I was 26 years old at the time with a very beautiful body. And I took a walk in my beautiful black and red bikini. And my father-in-law and his brother-in-law picked me up. I kept walking. On the way back, they wake Joseph up, and they said, you got to come see this girl. So that's when he came and approached me on the way back. And then we had that conversation. So then after this whole thing that he proves to me that he's a chiropractor, I take him back to the hotel where my mom's taking the son, and he offers to buy us a drink. So, I don't know, pina coladas or whatever. He went to the bar, and I looked at my mother and I said, that's your future son-in-law. And she said to me, what? How many drinks did you have? I go, I didn't have any drinks. This was just, Ma, I looked in his eyes, and this is the one. And that was it. And that started this whirlwind romance. Do I need to go further on it, or?
Oh, no, I think that's a really good tease for people. They got to read it. There are so many cool things in this, and so much more beauty and devastation that's coming up in the upcoming books as well. So what piece of advice would you have for a young girl? If you could go back to 25-ish year old Linda, and give her the advice that you didn't have then, what would you advise you?
How could you explain 40 years of life to a 20-year-old? I mean, they're going to live their life. I feel, let me backtrack. I feel like the phoenix. Does everybody know what the phoenix is? The bird that flies out of the flames of destruction. That is me. And I made the bet. Hold on. We have a little guest here. Plenty. I feel like that was me. I always believe this is the best advice I can give, and I gave it to my own children. When something feels right in your gut, you got to follow it. And when something feels wrong in your gut, you got to follow that too. And there were many times in my life that other people talked me out of my gut. That thing that you get at the back of your neck, that like the little tentacles come up like, oh, I don't trust this person. No, I don't like this person. Or this person's great. I'm going to go with, I think that is a very important thing I would tell to a 20-year-old. Listen to your higher self, your gut, and go with it. And if you get that warning, go with that too.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
It's only when I didn't listen to my gut and other people pushed me into making decisions that I didn't believe were right, that's when I got into the most trouble.
Yeah, it's so true. I always say, there's never been a time when I've listened to my gut and I've later said, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have listened to my gut. That was just totally wrong. Right. But, there's all those times that you have that you're like, oh man, if I just only done what I knew was right to begin with. Oh yeah, totally. All right. So, let's talk just a little bit about, or probably the better word is saying is specifically to the person you'd like to see read the book. Who would you really love to see this book reach?
I think this book, I originally wrote it with the intention for women, but it's really about anybody who falls down and then gets up again. So do you hear that sound? Is it live? Do you hear that?
I do, but it's not too bad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Probably really loud there where you are, but it's not
It
too
is
bad.
really loud. It's coming on and off, so I'm not really sure exactly what the heck it is, but okay. So I kind of wrote this book for other women, but as it evolved, I think that any man who wants to have a better understanding of a woman should read this book. And anybody who's ever fallen down in life. And we've all made mistakes. We've all got people go bankrupt, people get divorced, people, I mean, there's a million things that we could do in this life that backfire on us. And like I said before, it's to give people hope about the future. And when you read the book and you can look at me now, you'll say, "Wow, that girl is really the phoenix. She came out of the flames of destruction." And it's just a great read. I go on.
Oops, your audio just went out. Linda, your audio went out. We can't hear you. Technical difficulty, please stand by. Not sure why, but we'll get Linda back here in just a second. There we go.
Okay. I don't know. I lost you for a second.
Yeah, your audio went out for just a second.
I think I had a spam call coming in. What else is new?
Happens all the time, doesn't it?
So did I answer your question to your satisfaction?
Yeah, absolutely. So the book is called The Girl with the $1 Million Smile, a moniker, if you will, that you absolutely have earned. And in spite of all the things you've been through, and it's available today for free, actually, the ebook on Amazon. I put the link in the comments. A person can get the book. Linda, I'm so excited for both this book as well as all the others in this series that are coming out. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
All that and so much more to come with the upcoming books, the trauma and the things that she went through. But she is living a life of triumph and of overcoming and of success in the midst of those kind of things. And you can too. And learn to live as a thriving entrepreneur. Let's jump into a commercial break and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKidd.com and schedule a time to talk today. This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today as we talk about turning wounds into triumph. How can you love the people that have hurt you? How can you win in the things that you're doing? How can you overcome and be even a better person in the midst of the troubles, the turmoil, the wounds, the scars, the things that you've been through? That's what we're talking with our amazing authors and guests today as we help you learn to discover the secrets that really are what helps you be a thriving entrepreneur. And with that said, let's jump in to our next group of guests here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Oh, I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. We are talking about an anthology book that I'm honored to be a part of. It's called Winning with Love. presented to you by the amazing Willie J, who I'm so glad to call a good friend of mine. And he's brought us all together to talk to you today about what does it mean to truly be winning with love, not just finding that really cute person that you're crushing on, but really being a person that's living in this world with love. So I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to bring to the front stage each of the people that's in the book and have them tell you specifically what does it mean to them to be winning with love. With that said, Willie J, talk to us about what it means to you to be winning with love.
Thank you, my good friend Steve. I appreciate you, my brother, good friend, and for putting the fire under my feet again to orchestrate this anthology, this beautiful, the most powerful anthology with so many amazing co-authors and friends and authors and friends, best-selling authors. And I think love is unity. To win is to love, and to love is to win. You know, you love big, you win big. And when we think of winning, we're talking about growing. We're talking about empowering people, changing lives. Love transcends, love transforms. You know, the bigger the love, once again, the bigger the wins. You know, it's bigger than me being on the front cover of Morocco Force. It's bigger than me being on Times Square or New Jersey Times or featured on Celebrity Forbes top public figure 2024. You know what's most amazing about those things, those nuances, is that we get to empower people with hope. Love is hope. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that these chapters almost had me in tears because everyone embodied the topic of winning with love. This is something I got from God. I'm definitely that believer, that believes in kingdom introspection and kingdom interpretation. And I believe the kingdom of God is within us. And he told me, he said, if we're going to win this battle out here, in a time of great warfare and disarray, right? Where there's so much division amongst the people, and that just to bring everybody, and sometimes love is pain, but we leverage every moment, whether it be good or bad. And the best way to leverage any type of pain, any difficulties, any trials, any tribulations, and that is by way of love. The bigger the love, the bigger the wins. And this is how we'll transform our nations, our countries, our society, our culture. We have to do it by winning with love.
Oh, I absolutely love that. So
Thank you.
next, I want to bring up Brian Schulman. Brian, tell us what winning with love means to you.
Winning with love is, I always say it's the heart of it all that matters. And love cures all. When we talk about this book and just these incredible humans that have come together, I talk about how winning with love is not about being perfect or always getting things right. It's about showing up fully with all our flaws and our fears and our uncertainties and choosing to lead with love anyway. And it's about recognizing that fear and failure and the unknown are not obstacles to be overcome, but they're parts of the process that help us become stronger. They help us become more resilient and more loving. And when we approach life with love, we realize that we are already winning and that every step we take in love is a step towards greater fulfillment. It's a step towards greater connection and greater purpose. And love is what gives us meaning to our successes and our failures and our moments of triumph and our moments of doubt. It's the true foundation upon which true success is built. So the next time fear tries to stop you, the next time fear or failure tries to knock you down, or the unknown feels completely overwhelming, just remember that love is always there, ready to guide you through. And with love, you can face anything. And with love, that you are always and already winning.
Oh, that's awesome, Brian. So
Awesome.
next, let's talk to Jacqueline Diaz. Jacqueline, tell us, what does winning with love mean to you?
I love this because I'm a person that I just love love. And that sounds so cliche and so corny, but I just think that winning with love just means that unity piece, right? And how do we unite with love? It's especially during these times, knowing that everybody has an opinion, knowing that everybody is different, knowing that everybody praises God in their own way, or has their own person that they, their own entity that they praise, and respecting that and just embracing that. And during these times, I think it's very important that we win with love, because if not, then we're just going to continue to create separation and continue to have a world in which there's just so much tension. So winning with love, to me, just means just acceptance of everybody's differences.
That's such a great way of looking at it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next, I'd love to hear from Deepak Botra. Deepak, tell us, what does winning with love mean to you?
So when I wrote the chapter in mind, when I was thinking about love, and the word winning kind of sounds very corporate, right? But then I actually realized it means you're using something as a weapon, and you have a choice of that weapon. And this weapon for me was love. And when I was thinking about what was the biggest weapon I wielded, my mind went straight to mental health challenges. For me, it was something very important. And when we talk about love, a lot of people underestimate it, and it becomes really powerful. When you talk about love to a lot of people who are now living in this social media world where everyone likes to fight online, where everyone is politicized, has its own opinion, love is the only way to keep this bridge and this conversation going. So for me, it was incredibly important. I can use love as that vehicle to give support. So for me, the influence for me was I needed to help someone get through a recovery process. And you do that with love. And love takes many forms. It can be compassion. It can be just showing the person that you're there for them. A hand on your shoulder is love. A kiss on the forehead is love. And sometimes taking harsh words and telling people when they're wrong is also love. And my mom did that to me. At that time, I didn't understand it. But today, when I look at my paycheck, when I look at the people's appreciation for the work I do, it ain't me. It's my mom's love that's come through. And that's one of the reasons when I wrote my first book, I wrote it in a dedication to her. It reflects the love that she gave, which was hard love, tough love. It was awesome love. And to me, love creates inclusion, right? We talk about a world which is divided. And when you start a conversation, if you got love front, I assure you, you're going to get love at the end when you walk away from the table as well. So that's where I look at love from. A powerful weapon, let's use it and it's not a weapon of mass destruction. I would love to say it's something else. And I'd love to come up with an acronym that would make a lot of sense. But hey, love is powerful. Love is encompassing. Love comes in various forms. I would love to embrace everyone who brings love to the table. That's me.
Awesome.
I love that. All right. Well, next, I'd love to hear what winning with love means to you, Kinga.
So for me, it absolutely, it kind of resonates, all of these pieces coming together. And so it is seeing the unique value that every single person has and appreciating that, and learning to look at a human and just seeing something, making sure that we can find what it is that we can love about them, and to nurture that and to appreciate it, and to want better for one another. And to know that if we can all tap into that, we can create really beautiful opportunities and solutions, and to start eliminating some of the pain. And so, to Deepak's point, there's just a lot that we can actually achieve and win. And so there is kind of this, what are we trying to win? It is this, we're trying to fight against some opposition and negativity and things like that. And sometimes it does take that tough love. And so with my background in goal management and things like that, in teaching agility, it only worked when the teams came together and appreciated one another. It was the stopping kind of the manipulations and exploitations and things like that, and just having good, healthy conversations where they were thriving. And yeah, it's difficult. Sometimes it's tough, but when you create that safe space and courageous space and all that stuff, like really nurturing one another, it can be the most beautiful thing. So,
Yes.
Awesome. And then we'd also love to hear from you, Deborah. Tell us what winning with love means to you.
She's on mute.
these ideas coming together, these authors coming together, this love that is gathering and growing and is going to be shared with others is just incredible. In terms of winning with love, it's the only way to win. It's the only way to win. We've seen others try in different ways. We've seen people try to win with hate. We've seen people try and win with fear and decisiveness. It doesn't work, and we know that, and we've seen it over and over again. Winning with love is about finding strength and grace through life's toughest challenges and doing so with authenticity, humor, and compassion. It's not just about perfection or having all the answers. It's about showing up, whether you're caring for loved ones, navigating a major life transition, or just trying to make it through the day. It's about embracing the messiness of life and acknowledging that it is chaotic and it's okay. It's about being real and vulnerable and allowing ourselves to be human and awkward in moments of tears and, as I like to say, the ugly, snotty, unsexy. It's making people feel less alone, giving voice, making sure that we all have that brave space to show up in and be ourselves, and that unconditional love and acceptance be poured upon us. It's about choosing connection over perfection, leaning into tough conversations, staying open, honest, and really listening to those around you. Communication is especially important when it's messy and awkward, and it is a powerful way to strengthen relationships, and love keeps us grounded. And being there for the people you love, for yourself included. For me, winning with love also is a lot about our self-care and learning to love ourselves for who we are, for what we bring to the table, and seeing ourselves as a skill. It took me a very long time to realize that being me is a skill. I'm the only me, and what I bring to the table is my experience, my heart, my brain, my wealth of infinite, which we all have, love. We have infinite love, and it's the one thing that we can give no matter what our background, no matter what our circumstances. We always have it. We can always share it. And in doing so, we will always, always make a difference.
That was amazing. What a great way to end it off, too. I'm reminded of, because I'm a third generation minister, so I'm always thinking of Bible verses. The Bible verse says, love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't look for faults or keep track of wrongs. And often we hear that verse quoted at weddings. That's most of the time, the only time we ever hear that. But love is so much deeper than that. There's a great book. If you haven't read it, you guys got to get the book. It's called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And the first quote unquote scroll in it, the first teaching in that is all about, I will greet this day with love in my heart, and I will say to everyone I meet, I love you. And that is just so powerful. When we approach the world with love, when we approach people with love, when we give without thought of what am I going to get out of this, it makes us a better person. It makes the world a better place. And it really, truly is the only way we can win. Our bank account is going to go up and down. It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to have times where there's going to be down money. There's going to be times when you're going to have up money, but you can always be rich in love and in doing the things that make the world a better place. And that, to me, more than anything else, is truly winning. Before I let everybody go here for this particular segment of the show, I want to just give Willie a minute to kind of conclude us off here, and kind of put a bow on all of it about what it means to never stop winning by winning with love.
That's it, man. I is so elated, and I so enjoyed everybody's concept and commentary on love. Love definitely gives. When we win, we think of love. We definitely think of giving to our fellow sisters and brothers, without anything in return. The more that we love, the more that we give. It's the more that we give, and the more that we give, we automatically get it back. But we just love seeing people heal. Love heals. It It transcends boundaries. It brings everybody together like we're together right now. The power of collaboration, right? There's so much healing and therapy and just coming together with amazing minds, great minds, and these legendary people like you guys, right? That's right. And there's something that's just so therapeutic about that. It inspires. It motivates, right? It causes us to elevate beyond walls. It tears down walls. Love is everything. Love is the key. There's a great song by a group named Commission that said, "Love is the way." Well, I believe that love is the only way, right? Love is the only way. And I pray that each and every reader that reads all of these amazing chapters from everyone. And Steve, I thank you again, my brother, my good friend, for definitely putting the fire under my feet, especially at such a time as this when there's so much turmoil going on. Love is the way. It is definitely the solution, right, to all of our problems. And let me just say this, where there's love, there's hope. Where there's love, there's hope. And let us slang love like they slang dope. Okay, we're gonna slang love to our neighbor. That's right. That's what we mean by that. And love is resilience, and resilience is brilliance. And love can cause one to recover. And I think one more piece. Being a proud father of a 18-year-old daughter, love is winning with love is being able to love on your daughter or love on people, and it is forgiveness, Steve. Love is forgiveness. Loving your enemies, praying for your enemies, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
thank you
Well,
all.
you need to get the book Winning with Love with all these amazing authors. There is one other that wasn't able to join us today, L.S. Kirkpatrick. She's in the book as well. Well, actually, two others because Judy's also in the book. So we didn't have both of them with us here today, but we appreciate those of you that were able to show up. And we're looking forward to hearing your feedback and letting you get the book so that you too can be winning with love. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today. And we were looking forward to the exciting outcome that this book's going to do in the world.
Amen.
I was so blessed to be part of this book, and there are more coming in the Winning With series. And Willie's book, Never Stop Winning, is coming out. We've got an event that's coming in July. There's a link that we can get to you to be able to join up for it now. So many incredibly cool things happening that will all help you be able to turn your wounds into triumph and live as a thriving entrepreneur. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKid.com and schedule a time to talk today. This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today as we talk about turning wounds into triumph. We've talked to two great, amazing groups of authors. One was a group, one was an individual, and we want to take you to one more great guest and talk about how you can turn your wounds into things that you thrive in here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Join me in welcoming JJ Flazanes. Hey JJ, how you doing?
I'm great, Steve. Thanks.
First off, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, as a thriving entrepreneur, I am committed to helping people remove emotional blocks to success. I work with conscious, spiritual truth seekers I use core wound mapping and rewiring core wound patterns and helping people to create their roadmap to emotional healing. And I do that for people to help them thrive in business as well as personally.
So you said a few words in there that some of the listeners may not know the definitions for that. So can you go through that and kind of define for us what uh, wounds and the other things like that you said are?
Sure. So I have a podcast. Well, I have a podcast network, but my number one show is called Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. So I attract people who, at the beginning, were very interested in learning about energy, law of attraction, intuition, meditation, things like that. And my background, I'm very, let's see, I have a very varied background in different kinds of things that kind of led me to today, along with my own life experience. I've been an entrepreneur since 2001. And I've been entrepreneurial for my entire life. And when I realized that part of the blocks for people in business to grow their business was more of a personal growing themselves conversation, I got very excited about sort of niching in the space where, a lot of people go to therapy or they work on themselves in whatever way. They go to a live event or they read a book, but they don't really connect it to their business. And that's what I do. So we all have core wounds. When you were 0 to 7, your brain was not conscious. It did not observe. It did not decide what to believe. It took notes and recorded everything happening in your life as fact. So if you were crying in the other room and your parents didn't get to you in time, your brain might have recorded that you were invisible, you were devalued, were abandoned. And again, these are subconscious beliefs or subconscious thoughts and interpretations that end up becoming what is our belief system and 88% of our subconscious mind. So I've been specializing in creating all different kinds of programs and courses and ways to know what those are, figure out what those are, and then see how they show up in your life. And then, of course, how to change them so that you can grow and thrive in all aspects of your life, especially in relationships, increasing your level of happiness and joy, and of course, increasing your business and your bottom line.
I love all of that. So talk to us a little bit more about some of the things that we don't even know are in us. You were talking about that 0 to 7 and some of those things that just kind of got put in there, whether we liked it or not. How do we even begin to discover that those things are in there?
Well, well, if you're in therapy and you have a good therapist, and I say that lightly because traditional talk therapy I have found to be not very effective for changing people's actual beliefs and behaviors. It's more about figuring out a way not to get triggered, it's exhausting, actually. It's a victim mentality that says that I'm never safe. I have to avoid situations and people, or otherwise I'll be triggered. And that's not how I work. I empower people to take responsibility for their own emotions. So I think the consciousness level is the first question, just sort of noticing any patterns that you have in your life or in your business. Like, I'll give you an example. So I had a friend, she's an entrepreneur, she still is, and she could not hire and keep anyone on for any length of time. And in her mind, it was everybody else's fault. But the pattern's pretty clear. It's her. She's the common denominator. That actually happened here locally where I live with another business owner who has somebody come in and trains them, and they stay for about 3 to 6 months and then they leave. And again, you might want to complain and think that there's no good work out there. There's no good workers, but who's the common denominator? And then what are you not doing in a better way to attract a better person? Maybe it's in your training, maybe it's in your belief system. If someone has a core wound of being devalued, and we find this out through an exercise. And so I can't really say, if you have ever heard of imago therapy, Harville Hendricks created imago therapy. It's a relationship therapy. And most people who aren't in relationship or have never tried relationship therapy or coaching don't necessarily know about it. But what I love about imago is that the bottom line is that you attract your partner to heal the wounds of your past. And when we understand that, then we can go back and look at what those wounds are. And so there is an exercise in the workbook that is this core wound exercise. So you can buy the workbook and do the exercise. But what I've created over the last 10 years from this exercise is a very detailed map of you and how you work. But I want to give you an example of how it shows up. And you can work backwards. You can always work backwards and see what you're attracting and what patterns you keep repeating, and sort of get a sense of maybe what your core wounds are. So if you're someone who devalued is on your list of your top core wounds, then it might show up in your life as doing a lot of things for free, not charging enough, not charging enough and overgiving, performing for love, not putting yourself out there because you don't think you have anything special to say, or why are you different, not committing to an ad campaign or to a podcast or to becoming an author because you don't value what you have to say, not listening to your intuition. These are ways that those wounds sort of show up in our lives as business owners. And yeah, I had a whole podcast mastermind actually at one point with Doug. And the first year we did it, I mean, it was exciting at first because it was niching into podcasts, but at the same time, what I learned over the year and a half that we did it was that the blocks for the people weren't like the greatest funnel, like the next best funnel or the next way to market themselves or their next joint venture partner. It was them. But I hadn't earned, because they didn't come to me through my podcast. They came to me through business and through podcasting. They weren't really signing up to do personal work. And that was sort of when I realized that while it, I did well financially, it wasn't satisfactory and it wasn't as effective as it could have been. So, you can observe what your patterns are and sort of figure out, like, if you don't value yourself, if you don't have good boundaries, if you, first of all, if you like to start listening to my show, I talk about all this stuff all the time. That one, it might be the first way. But in terms of, I'm sure there are other podcasts that talk about core wounds, or if you're in therapy, there are books. That would be a place to start to realize, or to maybe take a little deeper dive into what that means for you and what yours might be.
I love that. Now, I was noticing, I was spying on you, that on Amazon you have a couple of books, and it looks like some of them correlate all that we've been talking about, and then also talk about weight loss or health issues. Is that correct? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, I sort of retired from the personal training industry about 4 years ago. COVID helped me with that. But I had wanted to. I started my podcast when I was personal training, and I was in the space of health and wellness. And I still do health and wellness today. I just don't act as a personal trainer. I act as an empowerment strategist, as a business and life coach, and as someone who can strategize whatever these blocks are. So we go on a really deep dive, and it's very effective. However, let me just talk about the books really fast. So the first book deal that I ever got was a how-to book, and it was a part of a series, like a Dummies and Idiots series, and I got paid to write a book about abs. And while I got paid and it was great and it's on bookshelves, it was not satisfying because it wasn't. I thought, I am not about like how you look. Like, that is not. Yes, it's important, but it isn't why I get up in the morning or became a personal trainer. So that book then led to me realizing I needed to step out first before that book published and do something that was more meaningful to me. So my first book is called Fit to Love: How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life. And really, the love of your life is you, but you have to understand that and know that in order to attract love at a healthier level. And then from there, I wrote The Invisible Fitness Formula: 5 Secrets to Release Weight and End Body Shame. And I republished a second edition earlier this year and did an audiobook, which was really fun. It was my first time doing an audiobook, and I will commit before 2024 is over that Fit to Love will also have an audiobook, because I've had a podcast for 10 years. So why don't I have an audiobook? But I made some very slight changes in The Invisible Fitness Formula. But that was my ode to 25 years as a personal trainer and wanting to make sure people knew that there was an order and there are steps to take to release weight and end body shame in a healthy way.
Wow, I really love that. So, and now you've grown that into not just one podcast, but to a whole network. So tell us a little bit about all the shows that are on your network, or about the network itself.
Fit to Love started as a podcast in 2014 as a 6-day-a-week show. I wanted to test out my market. I wanted to see where people wanted more from me, because I had a lot to offer and a lot to share and a lot I was learning and using, and of course, wanting to help others. And so it was fitness and nutrition and cooking and wellness. And then, of course, psychology and behavioral patterns and relationships. And then I had sort of a guilty pleasure day of spirituality and law of attraction, intuition, meditation, psychic abilities, all that kind of stuff. And then after 18 months and 350 episodes, I realized that I was too specific. I'm very particular. I'm very specialized in all the different categories that I talk about. And Fit to Love was not the right brand to put all of that under. So I split it up, and that's where the network kind of started. I took each day of the week and made it its own show. So I started off with 5 more shows, and each day was more specific. So Friday was called Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. And I launched that and expected nothing because I had nothing to offer anyone. I had no download, no lead magnets, no groups, no coaching packages. I had nothing. And in 2 months, I got a lot of emails that said, oh my God, this content's changing my life. Where do I get more? So it ends up being that I repackaged and repurposed what I already had into different brands that would attract different people. So I have a podcast called Women, Men, and Relationships, and the cover is black. It's a shadow of a couple, and the writing is in white or red. And that actually attracts more men. And then we have the Spirit, Purpose, Energy, which is pink and like orange, and that attracts more women, although most people end up there. I have Nutrition and Alternative Medicine, which again attracts both men and women because it's more scientific. I've got Health and Wealth, which actually attracts more men. So, but they're honestly, those 5 shows share the same episodes every week. And then I have other solo shows. I've got shows with Doug, shows on podcasting, we have a wine podcast with Michael Neely. So, and then I started working with people to put their podcasts up, like as they become my clients. I am now also offering them the ability to be a part of my network. So as of right now, I have another doctor with her podcast on my network called Healing on Purpose.
That is amazing. I love it. So if you were in an airport, let's say, and you sat down next to somebody that just in 2 or 3 minutes of conversation, you absolutely knew you could help them, what's your go-to? What's the very first thing you love helping people with?
Feeling happy, feeling joy. Most people don't know how to feel happy or problem solve their emotional stuff. So I would first ask permission if they were looking for a solution to said problem, because again, if they're not asking, they're usually not listening. And I want to heal my inner rescuer to trying to be a prophet of all the things that I do and shoving down people's throats who aren't ready. But I would just gently ask if someone was looking for help or a solution or some tips or ways to feel better or ways to solve their problem. And of course, I would probably direct them to one of my episodes, because at this point I have an episode for pretty much everything: boundaries, law of attraction, any kind of health issues, any kind of disease prevention and curing and all the stuff. So I've got like everything. And I would send them definitely to the show, because the show's a resource. I use it with my clients. If I have something I want to teach them or have them work on, I send them the episode to listen to first, and then we talk about it more personally.
Perfect. Absolutely love your approach to podcasting. That's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about how people who want to cure some of those inner wounds and the other things we've been talking about, how they can work with you.
Well, my prerequisite for anyone that works with me is that you listen to the show. And the reason is because the work I do with people requires you to trust me. If you do not know, like, and trust me, this will not work out, because I don't want to spend and waste time trying to prove that I can help you or that I have the ability to help you. So again, lots of free stuff. I've got several free classes, like master classes on my website, jjflizanes.com. Like 3 reasons why talk therapy is ineffective is one. How emotions affect healing and disease is another one. And the 3 fastest ways to make money podcasting is another one. So those would be 3 classes that are free. They're about 90 minutes. And then, of course, there's the podcast, which has 1 million episodes on every channel. And not 1 million, I'm exaggerating. But, and so jjflizanes.com would be the place to go.
I love that. Well, before I let you go, give us some words of encouragement that no matter how discouraged a person might feel today, that they can really find. Actually, I'm going to ask you that question, but I want to ask you another question first. Sorry, I just interrupted myself. Before you answer that question, I'd love to have you answer the question, How do you define the word joy?
Joy feels light and free and buzzy in my body. Joy feels like possibility and appreciation. It feels happy and yellow and like a sunbeam. It feels like a breeze that feels amazing going through your hair. Joy just feels like being present in the moment and appreciating everything about your life and where you are and where you're going.
I appreciate that. So now, my final question is, give us some words of encouragement that no matter how depressed a person might be feeling or how overwhelming life might be, that you can find joy in your life.
Well, first, when it comes to if you've been living in a state of disempowerment, which is what depression is believing you have no power. That and possibly your gut chemistry and your gut biome might be off. And so you're taking all medications and anyway, it's not helping. So it could be definitely a physical thing, but on the emotional side, there are awarenesses, there is information that you just don't have access to, that you just didn't know about. And I promise you, everything is figure outable. Everything. So if you have a pattern going on emotionally, you're either repeating a story that isn't true because you don't have any other information. You have no other perspective or way to look at it. Or again, there are just blocks in the way that you're unaware of. And elevating your awareness and learning and becoming more conscious and asking questions and getting curious, I promise that there is always a way to feel better. Now, you may not go from depressed to joy right away, because if you've practiced depressed and feeling powerless and telling the story of feeling powerless, you've built up some momentum there. And that momentum isn't going to, just like a car driving 100 miles an hour, isn't going to stop dead on when you hit the brakes. It's going to take a while to skid and slow down. So we want to create positive momentum. And in fact, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but in July of this year, I'm doing, and I'm not sure when in July, so just come on over to the podcast or check in and somehow, I run a 14-day manifestation challenge. It is free. And I will teach you how to use law of attraction to feel better and all the different tools that you'll get for free. And it's happening sometime in July. You could go to the website, jjflizanes.com/14-day, and that will be up and you can sign in and wait till we start in July. So I'm here to help you. It's free, but I promise, there is always a way to feel better. And again, it might take a minute to practice to go up and up and up into better feeling places, but that's only because you've practiced being wherever you are for a long time. And so it's just going to take a minute to sort of slow the car down.
I love that. JJ, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
We can't go it alone. There are many of the things that we go through in life that we need somebody to help us find the path and all of the skills that we need to be able to move forward and be strong and powerful and do all the things that we need to do to heal ourselves, so that we can then show up in the world as the amazing person that we are. Because you are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose, and the world needs you. They need you to take a look at those things that were the worst moments in your life, and then be able to turn them into the wonderful golden stuff that makes you the amazing, incredibly cool person that you are, and allows you to live every day of your life as a thriving entrepreneur. Oh, I want that for you. Thanks for being here with me today. I hope until we're together again next time, you're happy, safe, warm, and loved, and that you have an incredible week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created, to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKid.com and schedule a time to talk today.